You know what the world could use a little bit more of these days? Censorship. I mean, if you're offended by something, you should always have the right to speak to its manager and have drastic and immediate action taken. Offended by a tweet? Report it. Don't like a YouTube video? Flag it. But what about offensive location names? Like, what if I'm driving through Austria and come across the small village of fucking? Shouldn't I be able to report that? And why can't I flag the town of Swastika in Canada? Or Cockermouth in England? Well, I've got some good news. We may be one step closer with the announcement of an app designed to flag offensive rock climbing destinations. That's right, offensive rock climbing destinations. Give me 30 seconds to plug our sponsor, then I'll tell you all about it. In 2000 and current year, it's really important to keep your body healthy all the time. Collagen may be the closest thing we'll ever get to the so-called fountain of youth, while also forming a wall of defense between your immune system and the rest of your body. A lot of health experts now agree that consuming collagen is crucial when it comes to renewing and revitalizing how you look and feel. So visit my page at healthwithbear.com and secure your supply of the only collagen on the market I trust. Link in the description. So here's an article brought to us by thelily.com. It's called "Climbing Routes Are Riddled with Racist and Misogynistic Names. Meet the people trying to change it all." In one survey, 91% of climbers said they've come across a route name they find offensive. Yeah, well, who did they survey? The All Karen's Climbing Club? Melissa Utomo, a 29-year-old Asian American web developer, is used to being the only woman and person of colour when she rock climbs. A few years back, on a climbing trip to Wyoming, she was in just that position when her group arrived at a big section of Ten Sleep Canyon called the Slavery Wall. As the climbers challenged themselves on some of the wall's routes, the troubling names mounted: happiness in slavery, welfare crack. So, if something's just got the word slavery in it, does that make it racist? And as we're going to come to find out, happiness in slavery is actually a Nine Inch Nails reference. And what's the problem with welfare crack? I mean, for that to be problematic, don't you have to associate a particular race with welfare? Isn't that on you? I couldn't really process or absorb the names at the time because I was in a group of all white men, Utomo said. But when I returned home to Colorado, I started reading up on other violent, oppressive route names, and I realised I needed to do something, like call their managers. Utomo is part of a growing chorus of female and BIPOC climbers who are black, indigenous, or people of colour. So, no whites allowed climbers, basically, is this group. Working for change in the sport, particularly in the area of route names, their task is a daunting one, sometimes placing them at odds with a climbing world dominated by white men. Fucking white men, always here to fuck shit up. Why don't you just stick with your BIPOC climbers, your no whites allowed climbers? But Utomo and others like her are beginning to make an impact. Oh, that's really good to hear. In June, amid mounting pushback and rising protests against racial injustice, local developers renamed the Slavery Wall and some of it similarly offence-raising routes. The wall region will now be known as the Downpour Wall, while some of the other rebrandings were even simpler. Happiness in Slavery, a route named after a Nine Inch Nails song that also inspired the Slavery Wall name, is now just Happiness. Oh. The way that such routes are named in the first place is straightforward and done without much oversight. When you become the first climber to successfully map out a new route, a first ascender, you earn the privilege of naming it. Beyond the Slavery Wall, in some corners of North America, that's led to monikers such as Gold Digger, Kitty Porn, Clean Shaven Girls, and Astride My Indian Queen. In a Medium post in July, self-described novice climber Senna Crow recalled being appalled by Texas routes such as Schizophrenia and Third Reich. My God, how fucking precious. She's appalled just by hearing the words Third Reich. And what's wrong with schizophrenia? What if the first ascender was like part of the Schizophrenia Foundation and was just trying to bring awareness to the disease or something? Utomo said climbing has a system of gatekeeping baked into its culture that makes speaking up about offensive names intimidating. Yeah, well, so it should be intimidating. You're being a stupid bitch Karen. We've normalised worshipping the first ascenders, she said. If you're a new climber, it takes a lot of courage to speak up. Yeah, well, it usually does take courage to speak up to people you know don't like you. And for good reason. Like Utomo, climbing instructor and high school teacher Christina Smythe is working to bring about change. Smythe of British Columbia said she took note of route names in that area when she began climbing 11 years ago. With more free time this summer due to the pandemic, I decided I needed to make an effort for change, Smythe said. I started talking to other female climbers, and we began compiling a list of offensive route names. Oh, Jesus. They're making lists. Then we decided which ones were most worth going after. Topping the list were the flat-out racist and misogynistic names. But forcing a change can be challenging, requiring one to get the first ascenders buy-in, and then persuading guidebook authors to make the revision as well. There's a good deal of tracking people down and reaching out to request the change, Smythe said. So far we've made some progress, but we've also had some pushback. I'm working with others to make this a collaborative effort, so that many voices can outweigh those who resist change. For her part, Utomo has put her tech skills to use by developing a system that will allow climbers to flag problematic route names. She's gained the support of affinity groups such as Brown Girls Climb, Women Crush Wednesdays and Ballet All. And there we have it. Angry feminist Karens are developing an app to report location names. Within the rock climbing scene anyway. But how long until it expands to other things? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's me about done. I'll see you in the next one.
Recession,